Alright, so I just got done editing this video, and before you watch it, I just want to say, I have a lot to work on in terms of content creating, and this video is really long. I didn't realize it was going to be that long, so just make sure. I would still encourage you watch it the whole way through. There's going to be a lot of valuable advice, and I did ramble a lot about my experience, my own personal experience, and my thoughts regarding this subject. But I think it's important. Important that you learn sort of how to deal with this kind of injury or any injury in general, and how to address that not just physically with those physical practices you do, but also mentally with the cognitive practices that you do. It's equally as important and it works together as a whole. So, with that being said, I'm gonna get on with the video. And, if you just want to see the workout I did on the first day back, which honestly is pretty boring, just go ahead and skip to that. But if you want to hear, about some valuable stuff, particularly to this kind of injury, then watch the whole way through. Grab some notes, grab some food, watch this over dinner or something. But yeah, I'm genuinely trying to provide to you value. And also, please leave a comment, any questions you still have regarding this, because obviously I know I didn't cover everything. If you have any questions, let me know and I'll address it in part 2, which comes out next Sunday, October 20th. Anyway, enjoy the video. What's going on, y'all? My name's Spencer. I'm a certified personal trainer and I'm a power lifter. And today I'm here to talk to you about hernias. So, it's one of the most painful things, kind of, I don't know. I haven't experienced a lot of painful injuries, but it's one of the most painful ones I've had. And 1 in 3 men will get these in your lifetime. And basically it's where your intestines or fat or both will sort of kind of protrude out of a hole in your abdomen, just like that. If you're looking, you'll see kind of a bulge or feel it. And if it's small enough, you probably won't be able to see it, but you can definitely feel it. And it sucks. So today, I am 4 weeks and 1 day after my surgery to repair it. I had a laparoscopic repair done on my hernia, and it was an umbilical hernia. It was 2 centimeters, and they put 15 by 9 sheet of mesh inside of my abdomen. So I've been approved to lift, and today I'm going to educate you on hernias. I'm going to talk about my experience surrounding this, my recovery, how it felt, all that good stuff, and tips and tricks that I have to make this process a little bit easier on you. And I'll show you my workout on my first day back. And also, this is going to be the first video in my comeback series where you can follow along and watch my recovery process. So if you've got a hernia and you're seeing this years later, you can go ahead and watch the rest of the series on my playlist. There should be a playlist on my channel to see how my recovery process went. So as of today, this should be uploaded October 13th, so Sunday. So I will have the next video out detailing the first kind of full week back on October 20th, so next Sunday. And yeah, so let's get into it. So I've always been an athletic kid, I always had a ton of energy, always running around doing something, different sports, lots of martial arts, different martial arts. I did some wrestling in high school. I wasn't any good at it, but I had fun. I did gymnastics when I was younger. I ran a lot, and I started lifting when I was 15, so my sophomore year of high school. It was more focused on just sort of like how I looked and the aesthetics piece and the bodybuilding. I had really good genetics. I responded really quickly to it, like much faster than all my peers and stuff. So I was hooked, man. I love lifting, so I still do. And eventually, as I sort of got into it more, I became more obsessed with how much weight I could move and, putting plates on the bar. So that's where I got into powerlifting. So I had my first meet when I was 17 in December. I had a ton of fun, met a ton of cool people, and did pretty good for my first meet. Nothing crazy by any powerlifting standards, but I had a lot of fun. I learned a lot, and I was hooked. So I instantly jumped into my next meet prep. I went and hit that comp. I didn't do too much better. I didn't do that well, actually. I got pretty sick, and what we think I had was mono. Never got confirmed, but we think I had mono. So that definitely played a factor in me not doing too well. But moving on with the story. So at this point, I'm about 2 years into my lifting journey as a whole, and about, I want to say, 7 months into my powerlifting experience. And I went for a PR on deadlift about a week after nationals. I was feeling really good. I was with my friends, and I put up 545, as you can see here. So, it's ego lifting, definitely. And obviously, I'm not saying that this caused my hernia, but I'm saying that ego lifting is not a good choice, and you look kind of stupid doing it. But we were just having fun, man. So I was like, okay, I can move 545 pounds off the ground. That's pretty cool, right? Not by competition standard or anything, but whatever. I'm strong as right? So that's cool. And again, not advocating for this. I'm a personal trainer. Don't lift like that, dude. That's stupid. You get nothing out of it. I mean, if you really, really want to and you understand that what you're doing is dumb, go ahead, man. By all means, But it's not a real lift. So, but after that, a couple weeks after that, I went back home at my home gym and I was training deadlifts, like actually training, like, comp standard. And light work, mid 400s, RP 5-6 range usually, and nothing too crazy. I noticed that I had a little bit of pain and kind of like I was sort of just not really like being super precise with my setup with my belt and my Valsalva maneuver, bracing and all that. I kind of just send it, bro. I take it right, and I think that's part of where I fucked up. I noticed one day, I think it was in April, that my belly button hurt while I was training, and I don't think I put up a too crazy weight. I'll show some clips from that time. Stuff that I'm used to, no grinders or nothing, right? And I was like, huh, that's funny. But, the deadlifting, continuing my session didn't aggravate it. I kept going. It was fine. I just sort of took note of it. April, May, June. So May and June was a really stressful time in my personal life. So I wasn't recovering super well. My gains were kind of going to shit. I was actually going to do a third meet, but I had to drop out of that because of everything that was going on in my life. So, and again, I don't think this has caused this, but it's certainly a factor in, making it worse. So now come to July, I moved across the country, more stable living situation. I can start to eat more calories and stuff. And so I started picking up the weight gain again, getting some muscle memory in. So I gained, honestly, a total of about 15 pounds in a couple weeks. Most of that being like water, muscle memory, but I was eating a ton of food. I was eating about 4,700 calories per day on average. So even for me, that's a lot, right? So I was training, and again, I noticed this weird feeling in my belly button. So I was deadlifting. I want to say, something in the low 400s, just flying the weights, not actually struggling at all, But I just noticed this weird, sort of like heavy, kind of like presence in my belly button, and I was like, what the f- is that, right? So I came to my accessories for this workout, and I was doing seated leg extensions, I think. Yeah, it just started to ache, and I felt this kind of like movable mass, and when I pushed on it, right? Remember how I said earlier, a hernia is like when you come out, you get some of your intestine, your fat comes out of your abdominal wall like that. So I pushed on it, and I felt it slip back in. And I was like, oh, I think I have a hernia. So I went to the doctor, and they're like, yep, you got a hernia. So you got to go get surgery if you want to fix that, or else it's just going to get worse. So obviously, I realized I'm going to have to change up how I train. They said don't lift weights at all. I disagree with that. I think if you know what you're doing, you're experienced, you can continue to lift weights. But if you're powerlifting, you do have to sort of step down and modify things. So some people I've seen just continue like normal until they get the surgery. I wouldn't recommend that. I didn't feel like doing it, and it was hurting. So I said, okay, not gonna squat or deadlift anymore with a belt. So I dialed that back, probably doing like half of what I normally would, like 50% of my max. No belt, reducing the intra-abdominal pressure, because that is what causes the hernia to get worse or even form in the first place. Aside from the fact that it's most likely genetics that cause your incomplete forming of the abdominal wall. So in my case, I had an umbilical hernia, but most people get inguinal hernias. And basically you have this section of your body called the inguinal canal, which is basically like your V-line. And in men, that's where your balls drop out when you're forming in utero. And a lot of the time, it doesn't completely seal, and there's still kind of a little opening there. And that's where that the defect in the fascia is, and that's kind of where your intestines or some fat tissue can slip out. And it's scary. No one wants a lump near their balls or anywhere in their abdomen coming out, right? So it's no big deal, because that's why I'm making this video, to tell you that it's no big deal and you can fix it, right? So, but I'm just going through my experience, and I'm being real with you, and kind of what was going through my head in the moment. Obviously now it's no big deal, fix it right up and get moving with life, right? So there's different types of hernias, obviously. So there's but the two main ones that people get from weightlifting are umbilical or inguinal hernias, right? So I had the umbilical hernia, which is slightly less common, but still common. And yeah, so pretty easy to tell if you have it. You know, there'll be a lump, and it might hurt a little bit at first. Like in my case, when I first noticed it in April, it hardly felt like anything, but it was still there. And in July, when I was gaining a lot of weight, it started to really hurt. Yeah, so, you know, everyone's different. Some people might hurt a lot. I've heard people say it was like excruciating, and you know, I believe it, right? So after that, I think about a week went by, and I realized that I had not been shitting for days, and that was concerning because I'd been eating a lot, and the weight on the scale was going up dramatically still. I called the advice nurse. I was like, hey, look, I've got a hernia. I haven't shit in a few days. And they said, oh, you might have a medical emergency. Go to the ER. So I did. And they got a ton of imaging done. They found tons of like random stuff in my abdomen. Apparently I had enteritis, which is an inflammation of your intestines, but that's completely unrelated. So I probably just ate something bad and got food poisoning. But at the same time, they said, oh, you might have what's called a strangulated hernia. So that's where it kind of can't go back through the wall, and it'll block off your digestive tract, and that is a medical emergency. But luckily I didn't actually have that, but they thought I might. So that was scary. But if you think you have that, go to the ER, because you could die from that. So again, back to how I trained after my diagnosis. So in addition to reducing the intra-abdominal pressure by getting rid of the belt and dropping the weight on squats and deadlifts, I sort of switched my focus into more bodybuilding. So I got a membership at Bev's, which is one of the best bodybuilding gyms in the country. The best one that I've ever been to. So, you know, I fucking love that place. And just focusing on hypertrophy, got a ton of hypertrophy. And I dialed back the calories a bit, so I lost some weight. I was at about 174 in the morning, like dry, when I discovered the hernia, which is the heaviest I've been in my entire life. I'm only 5'8", guys. So, you know, it's pretty heavy for me. So I dialed back the calories. I was about more like 168 by the end of the month that I was just bodybuilding. But I definitely noticed, like, you know, everything felt fuller and bigger. You know, I was just really, really dialed in the hypertrophy type of training. And for the last week before my surgery, I had no gym membership, so I just did calisthenics and stuff. Nothing too taxing on the core, obviously. So on the day of my surgery, I couldn't drink or eat anything from 11 o'clock the night before. I probably did until like 11:30, but I don't give a fuck, right? Because they said come in at 1:15, and I was like, dude, I don't need to fast for 14 hours, you know, like 10, 12 hours or 14 hours, right? So I went in, and I was sitting there in the waiting room for surgery, waiting there for about 3 hours, and eventually some nurse comes in and gives me a shot of, I think it was Valium or some benzo, and they wheeled me off into the operating room and told me to get on the bed, and I sat there. They said, move, scoot over a little bit. That's the last thing I remember. So I just kind of came to in the recovery room, and it felt like I got hit by a train, man. This is my first time ever getting surgery, right? So I don't react very well to anesthesia. I get kind of belligerent is what we found. So when I woke up, they were telling me, I don't know what I was saying, but they were like, oh, you can't say that in here. There's other people in here, and calm down, shh. And like I had these, you know, I looked down at my abdomen, and there's like kind of some blood leaking out, and there's like they had 3 patches along. So the way a laparoscopic repair works is they make 3 small incisions in the side of you, and they put a camera in, they inflate your stomach full of gas so they can have room to work, and they go in, they put a sheet of mesh in there over the hernia, and they like stitch everything up. So it turns out I also had 2 tears in my abdomen. Like they didn't have hernias. I only had 1 hernia, but I had 2 additional tears. So 3 injuries in total that they sort of fixed up in there. And yeah, so I was in a lot of pain. I got wheeled out, and you know, I got shot up with all sorts of opiates and benzos and whatever the hell else they gave me. So I came home and just sort of, I don't really remember the rest of the day, but I was just sort of out of it. Slept downstairs because I can't go upstairs, so I slept on the couch and woke up. You know, had to sort of stiff arm myself up instead of using my core in the morning, and I didn't get up. I had to call my family and ask for water. So if you're gonna get the surgery for this, you need to have somebody with you to help you. I felt awful the first day. I couldn't even adjust myself in my seat. Like I couldn't move like that because it would just feel like I was gonna rip everything apart. And that first day they gave me oxycodone just for a day, and I was just booted off that all day because I just did not want to feel like this anymore. So got through the first day, hardest. Second day I could kind of walk around a little bit, but I could not stand up straight at all. I was really hunched over. I could take a few steps before I wanted to die. And it sucked, right? So during this time, you're gonna be very bloated because of the gas they put into your stomach. So it's gonna take some time to get rid of that. And honestly, I still have a little bit. He said, my surgeon said that my abdomen might be swollen for about 3 months. So that kind of sucks for my aesthetics. You know, I'm down 20 pounds. I'm at 154 this morning. But we're gonna have to deal with it, power through, and you know, one day I will look a lot better. So that's what this series is about, is you're gonna follow that and we're gonna see how much better I look in a month, 2 months, 3 months. And I guess I'll probably end the series off when I make what I deem to be an 100% recovery. Hitting my old numbers or looking like how I used to with my physique. First week, you slowly start to be able to stand up a little bit more, you know, taking a little bit longer strides. I think it was day 7, I tried to walk outside and I got a little bit down the block and I said, no, I need to go back. And during this time, I was eating about half my normal caloric intake, so you know, just over 2,000 calories, and keeping the protein as high as I can to retain the muscle mass that I do have. So the scar tissue on my incisions was fully closed by day 7, so you know, had no issues cleaning the area, bathing, stuff like that, which is important. You don't want to get infected. Moving on to week 2, I remember I was trying to walk a bit more each day, and some days were worse than others. So if you have a bad day, you know, you're in a lot of pain, you can't walk as far, don't think you're regressing. That just kind of happens. You know, some days are worse than others, so don't get discouraged. You know, you're still recovering. You want to make sure you're getting a lot of sleep and drinking a lot of water, and you know, take your laxatives so you don't get stuck up in there, and you know, eat some fiber, but not too much, right? So it's all about balance here. And by the end of week 2, I'd say I was standing up about 90% straight. Yeah, so at this point I realized that, you know, bad posture, I'm obviously not doing a good job right now, but bad posture gave me more pain. So if I was hunched over more, I would be in a lot more pain, right? So, or if I'm sitting down for too long, it would hurt a lot. Yeah, also the way you breathe, you want that diaphragmatic breathing, it's important. So obviously my posture is right now, but that's because I'm talking to the camera, and my chair, I need to change it because the armrests make my shoulders cave in. I'm getting off topic here. In the 3rd week, I could fully stand up straight finally, but you know, still some pain and discomfort walking, but making a lot of progress by week 3. Week 3, I went back to school and out in the world, and you know, it's a little bit, you get a little bit nervous at first because you know, you feel like you've lost a lot of your power. I don't know how other people feel, but I don't like feeling like when I walk around, like, you know, people could take advantage of me, because they could, right? So I don't like feeling like that, but nobody did, obviously. That's just my own inner demons getting to me, right? So it's actually all good. So week 4 is the first time I could sneeze without pain. I think it was on the 21st or 22nd day of recovery. I finally like let out a sneeze. I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to try sneezing at some point. So up until that point, I had been stifling it because I was like, that's gonna, well, I did once accidentally, and it was like, oh, I felt like my incision points were gonna split open. So I was like, no, I'm not doing that again. But week 4, I could finally sneeze, and you know, I was walking normally, honestly, even a little bit, you know, aggressively, like moving with purpose, right? So that was good. Still get a lot of pain if I sit for too long with bad posture, and still only eating about half what I normally do. The whole time I'd been taking about 6 grams of creatine every day, and you might ask why 6 and not 5. That's because a teaspoon is 3 grams, and I just said, you know, I'm just gonna do 2 teaspoons. So that's what I've been doing. I can't be asked to like measure 5 grams. I'm just gonna do 2 scoops into 6 grams, okay? So that's fine. I didn't track any water, but I basically always drank enough to just keep my piss clear, which is what you should do no matter what you're going through, injury or not. You should always be drinking enough water just to keep your piss clear. But I think this helped the bloating as well, because you know, you retain some water also when you stop lifting and stop being so active. Drinking more water makes your body retain less water because it doesn't think it needs to hold on to it to survive. And just walking, you know, walk as much as you can. Walk. You want to increase the volume of how much you walk as much as you can while you're recovering, because that is going to speed it up. But don't push yourself to where it hurts. You know, listen to your body. If you know that you need to just chill. But if you think you can walk more, walk more. Definitely walk more. Walk as much as you can, right? So as for caffeine, I had lots of caffeine this whole time. Lots of coffee, but never too much to where it hurt my stomach. So, you know, some people say, oh, only liquid diet. But for me, I didn't do any of that. I just ate less, and I ate foods that wouldn't really like sort of give me any indigestion or gastritis, like any sort of food that might be harder for my body to digest. I just would avoid. And, you know, coffee I can limit to not like full entrepreneurial grind mode of caffeine consumption, but, you know, just enough. Definitely don't be lazy during this time. Get the work done that you can. You know, work on the computer, work on something, because honestly, like, you're gonna get these little depressive swings, most likely. You're gonna get some depressive swings. I'm an optimistic person. I consider myself pretty optimistic. So most of the time I was feeling pretty good about this, but sometimes I would, you know, get a down mood. And the best way to mitigate that is to work on anything you can, right? So don't slack off on things that aren't physical because you have a physical problem. If anything, use it to get ahead in them, you know. And your focus is not going to be that great for the first couple weeks, you know, especially if you're on pain meds and, you know, your body's adjusting to this new state. Your focus isn't going to be great, but still do what you can, you know. You know, like half of your capacity to work is better than zero. So do what you can, right? And fast forward to today. So today, yeah, I'm 20 pounds under what I was when I first got this hernia. So here's a picture of me, like, probably a couple days before I went in and said, like, yeah, my shit hurts and I have a hernia. So I looked like this, about 174 pounds. And here's what I looked like right after my surgery. Beat up, man. I felt like I was probably about 162 in this picture. And then here's what I look like today at 154. So, you know, I lost a lot of weight, but probably not that much muscle. Like, definitely a little bit, but muscle memory is a thing, guys. So, and depending on how healthy you are otherwise is how drastic it will be, and also your genetics. But, you know, today I feel amazing, you know. Like I said, you might be depressed for a bit. But, you know, just my advice, again, just sort of lean into it, you know. Be as social as you can, be as productive as you can, you know. Think about what you want to do when you get back, and use the time to reflect and learn about other areas of your life. Because if you're like me and you're obsessed with, you know, fitness and your body, then that kind of consumes you. And sometimes it's good to take a step back from that and just sort of analyze everything holistically, right? And I feel like this 4 weeks that I've had were, you know, really useful for that. So I'm grateful for this experience. And obviously, like, it sucks. I want to get back. I want to get big. I want to be able to, like, move my body the way I want to again, of course, right? But you got to take what you can get from any experience in life, right? So I'm getting all philosophical here, but it's important, man. And this is what you're going to go through, you know, with any injury, not just a hernia. But this is what I was experiencing. So, you know, here we go. So right now, I still have some slight discomfort, like I said. Still, if I, like, sit hunched over like I am right now, or for too long, but basically none. So the surgeon said when I go to lift today, start at 50% of my max, which I don't know if I'm gonna work up that high because that is still pretty taxing on the abdomen. But and he said obviously, like, stop, dial it back if there's any pain. So I'm gonna walk through a little push day today, and like I said, next week we'll have more videos. But yeah. So these 4 weeks, yeah, let's talk about the positives now. So like I said, learned a lot about myself, had a lot of time to meditate and reflect, and you know, I haven't been a fat eating 600 grams of carbs per day, so my mind's been a little bit clearer. I'm not constantly carb crashed, and you know, that's part of what drove me to sort of make this video, right? Because I wanted to do more things than just go to the gym and be a meathead all day, right? So yeah, so, you know, definitely learning to be more productive during this time recovering from my injury. Yeah, so moving forward, I don't think I'm gonna return to powerlifting anytime soon. Like, obviously, I've had such a passion for it. I still do. I'm still really want to move big numbers, right? But I think that I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach to my training for the foreseeable future. You know, if I want to hop on a powerlifting program and do a meet again, you know, that's definitely on the table, but not anywhere in my like immediate line of sight, right? So first and foremost, I'm gonna come back and get healthy again, you know, fill my muscles back up, gain back the weight that I lost, and sort of, you know, gonna have to retrain my core. I've got a ton of exercises programmed for myself that I will be showing you that I'm gonna use to make my core stronger than it ever was and more functional than it ever was. So, you know, I'm gonna take sort of an unconventional approach to my training, right? Like nothing I ever do is conventional, right? Not even my fucking deadlifts. Nothing is conventional for me. So, you know, I'm gonna bulletproof my core, gonna sort of focus on aesthetics a bit more, because, you know, I'd rather be sexy and huge than pop my fucking stomach open again, right? So that's the way I see it, right? So, you know, more functional strength training, getting back into combat sports, martial arts, something I really want to do, but that's going to be a little bit more down the road, 4 to 6 months until this mesh is fully one with my body, right? So, and also more sort of kind of like raw, extremist. You know, I haven't really done enough of that, but I've got some big things coming, you know. I'm not going to run any ultra marathons or anything like that just yet, but, you know, stuff that's more for like mental transcendence that has to tie into physical well-being, you know, unconventional training, like I said. So that should be fun, you know. That's how a human being should be. You know, you're not supposed to follow a blueprint all the time. I mean, obviously you can, and you can get great results that way, but I think that, you know, to be your ultimate highest form, you can't always follow a blueprint, right? So with all that being said, I don't think this makes me a quitter, right? Maybe I'm a because I don't want to get back into the powerlifting and, you know, risk getting another hernia somewhere else in like my inguinal region and all that. Maybe that makes me a quitter, and you know what, fine, so be it, right? But that's not the way I see it, right? I'm kind of open new doors for myself, and I'm really excited for that. So, you know, just challenging my current beliefs, because for the longest time, the worth of my days was just based upon like how good my lifts. You know, did I hit it at the right RPE? Did I overshoot or what? You know, like I don't. That is over. It's over, and that used to be how I operated. So that was really unhealthy, and honestly, getting a hernia kind of cleansed me of that, right? So, you know, you're worth more than the weight you could put on the bar. Or if you're struggling with like body image, you're worth more than the weight on the scale, right? So, you know, forget about that, right? So for those of you that may be returning to training after surgery, there's obviously some important things, right? So if you're not careful, you can literally perforate your organs and die. You know, that's a little dramatic. It's not going to happen, but you can, right? So be careful. Yeah, you know, your body will let you know if you're pushing it. You know, if you feel a twinge of pain, stop what you're doing, think about what you can do differently, or just, you know, go home. You know, this applies to all training, right? Don't just copy me, don't copy other influencers. You know, listen to your own body, test different things out, and that's how you're gonna get the best results for you out of anything. I'm just providing you what I do, so hopefully you could take inspiration off of it, right? So, you know, first exercise back has got to be bench. So, like we said, 50%, and just add up over the next couple of weeks, see where I can get to. So for now, I forgot how the this feels, bro. Okay, there goes my key. Okay, well, it doesn't hurt, so it's a good sign. So I'm not gonna lie, I feel like bro. It feels so fucking awkward in my hands. I'm like not used to it anymore. So we're gonna go up a little bit, see how it feels. Probably not go above a plate, but as long as I breathe properly, it doesn't hurt. So we're just gonna continue with the workout as long as nothing hurts, just like the doctor said, and that's what I'm recommending as well.
All right, it's gonna be my top set for the day. So, but it started to hurt a little bit, so I don't think I want to push it much farther. But we're gonna get through this injury recovery process together. Like, I'm not used to the movement anymore. I almost have to like do a guillotine press to like not hurt it. And obviously there's no leg drive involved with this either, so. Okay. Bench kind of sucks because you gotta lay down, and every time like I try to stabilize, I feel a twinge like where the repair site was. But this, I think this is a little better because I don't have to lay down. I have a bit more stability, and I'm just gonna keep it slow and just breathe right. So. All right, so now I want to talk about other stuff, right? So one thing I learned during this period is, your mind is a crazy tool, right? So sometimes you just wake up and you're not feeling it. And on those days, I encourage you to challenge yourself, right? So, you really feel like you're not going to have a good day. I want you to try and choose to have a good day, right? Choose to be grateful. Choose to act grateful in negative situations, right? Some days I feel like I don't want to talk to anybody. I feel cold, shy, and like my body doesn't feel right. But I still decide to be extroverted because that's the way I see myself. That's the way I want to be seen by other people. And, maybe that's unhealthy. Some people might argue that's unhealthy. But I still think it's authentic because that's what I want to be, right? I don't want to be shy, introverted, lame. So, choose to do that. And just feel better as the day goes on, right? So I can't tell you how many times I've woke up, felt like just I said, F it, I'm gonna ball anyway, and had a great day, So that's what you gotta do, and you can apply that anywhere. You can apply that to the gym. You wake up, you feel like you end up hitting a PR, right? You've heard that all the time. We've always heard that, right? So it's important, man. And how that relates to hernias and other injuries, right? Same rule. Like you're like, oh, I feel like, but this is on an injury thing. It's more of on a life level, like the total holistic scale. It's like, oh, I'm hurt right now, but in my book, I choose to use this as a stepping stool to like a more profound existence. Like a sort of a catalyst into a new chapter that serves me better than the last one. Right, so that's what I did in this case. And honestly, if you're going through a hernia or any injury or any setback of any kind, I encourage you to use it in that way. All right, update after day 1. So my pecs are sore as after only 50%, and I see that as a really good thing. So I probably got a pretty good stimulus, and I know soreness does not equate to the stimulus; it equates to the novelty. So anything's going to be novel to me because I haven't lifted in 5 weeks. So yeah. So that was everything that you need to know about hernias and my experience with my umbilical hernia and my first day back at training. I hope you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for the next video in the series and among other content on this channel. I'm excited.